What's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods. I'm according to Woods, and this is Voodoo. Former MMA champion and Peterson grappling aficionado. Yo, UFC 25, UFC Vegas 25 was last night. A lot of shit happened. A lot of people got punched in the face, cut in the eye, just weird upkicks and shit, but we're gonna get all into it. All of it. All of
hmm
it.
hmm
What do you think of the
Oh yeah,
card, Voodoo?
the card was bittersweet. You know, it was pretty exciting. Uh, the my fight of the night was not chosen. You know that Kamehameha guy and
Yeah.
yeah, that was a fight of the night in my eyes. You know what I mean? But I don't believe they got it, which is unfortunate. Those boys went out there and put it on the line, and for some reason they weren't rewarded for it. It's a terrible thing.
And it's weird because I actually because I thought Kai Kamaka was gonna get KO'd, right? By the Filipino
hmm
from Arkansas.
hmm
It didn't happen. But I didn't
hmm
I was watching the tweets alongside, the fights.
hmm
Unfortunately, I actually didn't see it. I didn't
mm
it was to me it was just like yes, hits and damage were administered, but I didn't see what I guess the rest of MMA Twitter you saw last night. So
mm.
I don't know.
Uh, what I saw in that particular fight was the future. They had excellent hands. They had very good use of both feet. You know, especially that lead leg. There were good elbows, good knees. Everything was just on
Yeah,
point, striking wise. The grappling was also on point. You know, it went to the ground. Each one of them defended pretty well, offensively and defensively on the ground. They stood up. They kept it going. You know, it was just I was okay with seeing another 2 rounds. It was a beautiful match.
yeah. No, I mean obviously, to get to that fight, we had a couple fights before it. So let's get into it. Uh we had Felipe Colares against Luke Sanders. Felipe, the Brazilian, basically, wins a unanimous decision over a heavily favored Luke Sanders. So,
hmm hmm
let's see.
I believe I also picked Luke Sanders to win this one. I'm not 100% what we talked about on Friday or Thursday, but I think I did. But either way, either way, Luke Sanders went in the first round and brought the heat. He brought the heat and almost finished his opponent. But then his opponent, that Flavella life rung loud in his ears, and he's like, I need this bonus. I gotta feed my family. I gotta feed somebody. Something woke him up because he became instantly sharp, and everything he threw from the end of the first round to the second and the third were crisp. He was in the zone, man. He was in the zone, throwing anything he wanted, however he wanted it. You know what I mean? And eventually, he was able to overwhelm his opponent, Luke Sanders, with strikes, not just strikes, dynamic strikes. Uh, he displayed an excellent use of the front kick. It wasn't that high teep or teep as they call it. It wasn't that. It was that snapping front kick that sends a shiver down your wherever it lands. It penetrates right through. It doesn't push the individual back. It is the shot that penetrates right through like a bullet. This is the most effective front kick to me, right? And we will also see this particular kick later on in the main event.
No, 1,000%, 1,000%. So, big win for Colares, who, even with a 9-2 9-1 record going into this was kind of
Mhm.
unheralded, you know.
Mhm.
So this is a
Mhm.
good one, you know. Luke Sanders, big win. Speaking of
Mhm.
another big win, we have Andreas Michelades of
Mhm.
Greece, and he beats KB Buller. Apparently, it's
Mhm.
not Bueller; it's Buller.
Mhm.
By this decision, first two decisions of a night, like literally full of decisions. Good God.
Mm. Yeah, this particular matchup was a very strange one. Uh, KB Bueller or whatever his name is, for some reason felt a need to be super cautious. I believe the pressure of the bright lights got to him. I can't call it really. It didn't make sense what he was doing. He was super reserved and playing it super safe, and Michelati just marched him down the entire time, chasing him pretty much around the ring for 15 minutes. Unanimous decision victory, man. I mean, KB was on roller skates, just running away. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't really tell you what happened because I just fast forward right through it. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it.
Yeah, nothing, nothing against the two combatants, but it's always rough when, somebody fights kind of safe, kind of safe, and it doesn't make for an exciting fight, but also does enough to thwart their adversary, and it's a weird one, right? So, um, stuff like that. I believe KB Buller probably won't be in the UFC for long. And something I call it Sixth Sense, call it the whatever that's on Yuri's head, call it that, the antenna going up and kind of catching a signal. But I believe my signal is telling me that KB Bueller won't be in the UFC for long.
No, no, not with that kind of performance, man. Not with that kind of performance. It was embarrassing. Uh, I, let's just move on. I don't want to be too negative right now.
Absolutely. Now, this
Mm.
was an unfortunate one because talking about, not in the UFC for long, well, that has to kind of go to Sam Hughes. Because she basically got, I mean, outfought by Luma Lookingby uh,
Mhm.
in every kind of instance, ground, striking, everything. Luma just talk about a will to win. She had that will to win. I'm not saying that
Mhm.
Sam Hughes did it because again, this is a weird kind of deal, right? Because Sam
Mhm.
Hughes basically, fought Little Monster Vanessa. Well, fought on the same card as Vanessa Demopoulos, right?
Mhm.
Back in LFA here in LA or
Mhm.
Orange County, right?
Mhm.
Before
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
COVID thing happened, they
Mhm.
their card mates. Then they fight for the inaugural, LFA strawweight championship, which Sam Hughes loses, right? And then
Mhm.
basically, the champ Vanessa Little Monster Demopoulos loses to none other than Lupe Godinez, right? But Sam Hughes, without an LFA strawweight title, actually gets to the UFC first. And of
Mhm.
course, you can say, yes, Little Monster had a tryout on the Contender Series that didn't go her way, but Sam
Mhm.
Hughes basically went to the main roster UFC and almost leapfrogged both champions in her wake. So it's crazy, but she's unfortunately lost both of her outings in the UFC, and
Mhm.
she's a hell of a talent, um, a hell of a fighter, right? But
Mhm.
unfortunately, she gets Tisha Torres in her introduction to the UFC. Good God, right?
Mhm.
Filling in a short notice fight, right? And then she gets one Luma Lukumbi, and Luma. It's all Luma on this one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, Boom Me was on fire, man. Immediately she established her distance with that front kick. Uh, not the front kick that I like, that T-pin one. It's quite clear. when anyone, especially an American, goes in there against Loma, uh, the easiest thing to do to fight her is to initiate the grappling because Loma is a lifelong Muay Thai artist and grappling is new to her. So the way to win, well, if you want to maximize your opportunity of winning, you got to grapple her, take her to the ground, and do your thing. But unfortunately for Sam Hughes, she wasn't able to do that. Loma has been improving quite a bit. And also, in addition to her improvement, the UFC is bringing her along quite nicely, putting her against favorable matchups. Unlike Sam Hughes, who was thrown in there to the Wolves, you know what I mean, to start off. Loma has been brought on quite smoothly. You know, they put her in there with people who are able to grapple, but not too much. Not in regards to the striking, she can hold her own. The only threat is the grappling, and so far she's been put in there with people who cannot dominate her in the grappling. I believe they see money in her in regards to Thailand, and it's a smart business move if you ask me. Keep putting her keep putting her, keep putting her in there with people who aren't that great at grappling or submission and not good enough to beat her in striking. So she did what she had to do, man. She established that distance and a lot of kicks. You know, she got back up. If you know, she was able to escape the clinch on the fence, pull the head, turn the body out, untie the lock, slide right out of it, and go right back to her kicking. She did a good job, man. She did a good job. She's improving quite nicely, and I have nothing negative to say about Luma in this particular one. She's doing her thing. She's doing her thing, and she's marketable to the UFC. Can't be mad at that.
Yeah, especially as they're trying to, expand into Asia. The
Mm-hmm.
UFC basically is, the parent company and Endeavor,
Mm-hmm.
basically becoming a publicly traded company this week. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, in terms of stars, they need stars from everywhere. They need stars from Asia. They need stars from Australia, New Zealand, Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, U.S., Midwest, Eastern, Southern California, Northern California. They need stars. They need stars.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I believe they found one kind of on the top of the card, but we'll get to that soon enough.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, big win
Mm-hmm.
for Luma. I thought she really stood out amongst the rest of
Mm-hmm.
the strawweight pack. So again, big
Mm-hmm.
win,
Mm-hmm.
big win. Now
Yeah,
we have
I believe we both picked Loma to win this particular one, right?
mhm, yeah, yeah, and again,
Yeah,
it's
that's what I thought.
Sam Hughes gets one more, to kind of show
Mm-hmm.
her value because there is value in Sam Hughes. I do believe she's a
Mm-hmm.
star. Um, but if she takes a loss, she's almost 50-50 in quite a short time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's a rough one. This is whatever she steps into the cage next, it's a must win situation. So
Mm-hmm.
that being said, speaking of must win, that's not how you were going to describe this one, right? Because we had
Mm-hmm.
Luana Carolina against Poliana Botello. You could tell that the UFC had like stars in their eyes. What is that emoji with the hearts and the whatever? They had that was UFC and Endeavor or whatever their kind of view of Poliana Botello. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
The commentary was
Mm-hmm.
skewed towards Botello. It was almost like
Mm-hmm.
Luana was essentially a body. And guess what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Luana proved them right that she was just a body. Because, good God,
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it's what is it? The rehashing of Space Jam, right? You remember
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
first Space Jam with Michael Jordan, where the aliens
Yeah.
literally took the NBA players and zapped their
Yeah.
damn soul and everything like that? That was it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like she didn't even realize she was a fighter. Like she didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Luana just didn't know. What the hell? I don't know if it
Mm-hmm.
was fear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, whatever. At times she wanted to be a striker. And
Mm-hmm.
apparently she's a Muay Thai blue belt. I didn't even know you could get a belt in Muay Thai other
Mm-hmm.
than Yeah, it was just weird, and
Yeah.
her moniker is Dread. I absolutely dreaded this damn fight. This was, woo, buddy. And Pollyanna, for her credit, she actually wanted to win. But somewhere, it was almost like the Paul Bear Erd of the Undertaker. Ooh, yeah. That Lana kind of showed a sign of life. Maybe, when they say when a body passes away, right? The brain
Mhm.
gives one
Mhm.
last signal, right? If the brain is still intact, one last signal to, an electrical signal to the rest of the body to see if it's there, and that could cause somebody to
Mhm.
kind of jump up and
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
have you. That's
Mhm.
exactly what have you. I'm not
Mhm.
far convinced that Luana wasn't dead the whole first round. She definitely wasn't fighting, and to be in the
Mhm.
UFC, in the fight capital of the world of Las Vegas, that's a pretty weird position to be in, to
Mhm. Mhm.
not know you want to fight when you're in the middle of a
Mm.
fight on ESPN,
Mm.
worldwide television, worldwide leader in sport, in the capital of fight sports, in the UFC
Mm.
octagon. It's weird.
Mm. 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 This particular one, man, Poliana was the one that I felt would be the stronger of the two, more aggressive. Luana, Carolina. The last time I saw her, she was very passive in her attempts in the fight, and I just assumed she was going to do the same thing, But for some reason, she was able to keep it together. And another thing, Poliana was brought in because of her striking prowess. She gets into this match and she starts grappling. Like, what are you doing? What's going on here? This isn't a jujitsu competition. What are you doing? Like, and then on top of that, the dread lady ends up on her back in the last round, almost submitting her. Like, what are you doing? Like, is this the game plan? What? What? Who you? What? I don't know, man. I don't know how to interpret this particular match. There was a split decision victory. Uh, I guess the
At
right
this
person won.
for
Hmm?
Luana, and again, she won a split decision and whatever. But
Hmm.
at this point, whoever her
Hmm.
coaching is, and you talked about game plan, good God,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
I would bring back Josh Fabia's dumbass, right? I would get, Mike Perry's girlfriend. Like that would have been way fucking better than what the hell this was.
I couldn't call it, man. That match, that's another match I had to fast forward right through, brother. Had to fast forward right through it. Um, you know, I can't let such negativity take buy up real estate in my mind. It did absolutely nothing for me. So I had to fast forward right through it, man. There's something about watching the fights later. Yesterday I had to go to a track meet, so I couldn't watch it. I had to catch it on tape. I taped it, and thank God, man, I couldn't sit through those matches, bro. It was pissing me off as I sat there, and I realized I was getting pissed off. I was like, okay, let me just. I have the power to fast forward. I don't have to watch this. I fast forward right through that sucker, man. It was garbage.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for all of combat sports. Hell, especially women's combat sports. But fuck, this is this is dog shit.
That was
I'm sorry.
garbage.
It's, yeah. So speaking of something that you view, Voodoo, as not dog shit, literally the
Mhm.
antithesis of dog shit.
Mhm.
TJ Brown, downtown
Mhm.
TJ Brown versus Fighting Hawaiian
Mhm.
Kai Kamaka the third, because the other two were
Mhm.
taken for sure. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
but TJ Brown, the Filipino from Arkansas, beat the
Mhm.
Fighting Hawaiian. Um,
Mhm.
I felt like I felt like Kamaka was going into this was going to get KO'd. He showed
Mhm.
me his. I mean, these two talk about fist fights. This is a fucking fist fight. They both beat the shit out of each other. That's all this was.
Mhm. 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 Yeah. Yeah, not only was it a fist fight, it was a complete fight. It was a complete mixed martial arts fight because we saw everything that we needed to see in this particular matchup. If the UFC was trying to bring in a new, what do you call those people? Producer or whatever, someone to put money down on the company. If that was the case,
Oh, that
this fight, yeah, this fight will be an excellent fight to pitch to the people that will be putting the money down because they were perfect, man. They were excellent. Both fighters were perfect. It was a even in regards to matchups. Whoever put this match together, shout out to that person, man, because that this was an entertaining fight from the beginning to the very end. It was beautiful, man. Both fighters had the ability to switch stands at will. You know what I mean? Even though Kai stayed regular most of the time, his opponent. I mean, they were both able to, but his opponent did a lot more, which is fine. He takedown defense from Kai was beautiful. His opponent lead left leg, both of them lead left leg, man. The way they were putting those combinations together was flawless, man. The takedown defense, the takedown attempts, just the whole thing was a complete package, man. I was so happy to have such a match in a prelims, you know. Someone who was brand new to this coming in and seeing this particular matchup, they will be intrigued and they will want to tune in another time for another match or another card. So shout out to those two gentlemen, man. Each one of them deserve 100,000 more in bonus money just for that kind of performance. It was beautiful. I loved every moment in those 15 minutes.
No, 100%. Now, speaking of moments, we didn't get a lot of moments in this next one. We had Luana Pinero
Mm-hmm.
against Miranda
Mm-hmm.
Marcos, and this one lasted all of what, 44 seconds? 44
Mm-hmm.
seconds, and it was marred. Like 44 seconds, marred in eye pokes and illegal up kicks. That's it. Now we could pick Luana to essentially win this, but not in this
Yeah.
manner. We thought that Ronda Marcos was essentially going to, fall to her, whether it be knockout, submission, what have you, maybe a decision, right? That wasn't the case. Now, Ronda, pretty early on, right? Almost the first exchange, right? Luana basically punched and poked uh, Ronda, and she kind of paused for a minute and was like, hey, whatever. But Mark Smith, good God. And this is one of the guys, he's a carryover from boxing. He's a boxing referee first, in Las Vegas, some big money fights. And now he's, you know, an MMA referee. I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's training in jujitsu or whatever, but he let the first eye poke go. One. Okay. And it was like, I mean, it was almost like he got eye poked himself, right? He was like, oh, or like wrestling when the referee is like, I don't see somebody fucking going into their tights and getting something and jabbing him in the fucking throat. That's what Mark Smith did here, right? And then another eye poke, a little bit more substantial. This one got the timer of, like that full 5 minute deal or whatever. The doctors were brought in, and fucking Randa Marcos, who's on a 3 fight skid, right? She wasn't going to go out like that. She took more time and was just like, and there's like a small bit where us as fans, we thought, hey, she's probably not going to continue. This one's over and what have you. But she continued, right? And they have an exchange. It goes to the ground, and Ronda's on the ground on her back, kicks the fucking shit out of Luana. And Luana basically, it was almost like she exploded. So that's what it was.
Hey, man. All I know is Luana was toe tagging her off the jump. Her distance, understanding of distance is phenomenal. And on top of that, her judo is so prime
Yeah.
and And the
Two
way she
takedowns.
utilized that judo, yeah, man, yeah. Ronda Marcos, she knows that she cannot stand with this girl, which is smart. So immediately she threw 1, 2 strikes, marched her down to the fence with the hopes of getting on the fence, clinching her up, and then, systematically breaking her down and taking her to the ground. But no, no, this girl wasn't having it, man. As she was moving back, she's throwing excellent shots. You know what I mean? Slipping the ones and twos that's coming at her. She's just an excellent striker. And when the opportunity came, she grabbed a headlock and tossed her, with that hip toss, that judo toss, man. She must have done that judo toss like 3 or 4 times. I remember one of them.
It
Marcos
was
was
it was it.
completely inverted, man, on her head, vertical. Dumped her dead on her head, man. And then that eye poke you talked about, it seemed like she was trying to push her face, but the finger kind of went in her eye. You know what I mean? Which cut her eyelids or whatever. It seems Ronda Marcos got upset from that, and after she got dumped on her head, now she's in guard. She's in full guard, and I don't know, man. How could you not know she was on her knees? I think frustration caused that stomp. The fact that she had been fouled and poked in the eye, she wanted to foul also. This is my interpretation of what I saw. She was so mad that she was getting pieced up. She wanted to foul, and that's what she did. I've been in there. You know what I mean? I've had my eye hurt. You can think logically while you're in there. She chose not to think logically. I can understand stomping her in the body, so stomping her in the face. Come on, come on. You did that on purpose. It was done on purpose, either to get out of the match, to keep from getting knocked out, or two, to stall out, damage the opponent, maybe lose a point, but damage the opponent enough to have an edge. Those are the only two reasons that I see in that particular move. And upon landing that shot, um, the Irish Dragon felt that the
Paul
girl was
Felder.
faking. Yeah, Paul Felder. He felt that the girl was faking, right? But then when you look at her, she didn't seem to know where she was. She was even asking her corner, did I lose? Did I just lose? You know what I mean? Clearly something was not right. Something Aljamain Sterling didn't do. And he got me clear in the head, right? He didn't say, hey, where am I? Where am I? He said some other nonsense. You know what I mean? So there's a huge difference in these two fouls. You know what I mean? It seems Aljamain might have been more dangerous because he was standing and gravity was on his side, while the other one, they're both dangerous. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it that way. But Liana's Liana's foul seemed legitimate to me because when you look at the eyes don't lie, man. The eyes don't lie. The way she was looking around, she was lost. She was lost. And the disqualification, I think it's proper. I think it's proper. And one thing that I would do is run it back. If I was a matchmaker, if I worked for the UFC, if I was in power, I would have them run it back so we can get to the bottom of this. This fight ain't over. I wouldn't fire Marcos on her fourth loss. I wouldn't fire her. I would put her right back into the snake pit and have her crawl herself out if she can. Like Taz used to say, beat me if you can. Survive if I let you. I don't think she's going to survive that onslaught.
Well, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. But, theoretically speaking, them being the ranks that they were, like, to do it over again, there has to be some stakes. There has to be some drama.
Yeah.
There has to be whatever. Luana was on her way to a victory, one. But then again, I also think two fucking eye pokes, you know, consecutively, she should have had to take a point taken away. To be honest with you, that's you know. So I don't know, fucking hell. But
Mm-hmm.
our analysis lasted like 8 times more than the actual fight. So Fuck, I think we move on. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it was a weird one. That one was weird. But we had
Mhm,
the Machine Marab versus Cody, the former Starman, now the Spartan, Stamen. Um,
mhm,
but what did you think? This is the battle of the two guys who beat Tyrion Fashware. Crazy.
mhm, mhm. Well, this one's quite simple. We knew what was going to happen. We knew Marab was going to win. This is what we discussed. Simply because
Mm-hmm.
Stamen is going down additional 10 pounds down from featherweight to bantamweight, I believe. Hey, you will pay the cost, man. You will pay the piper. That 10 pounds was significant, and it showed in the match. The first round, he was great. Well, he thought he was great, right? Mirab, he wrestled him. Cody wanted to wrestle. They wrestled. Filled his body up with lactic acid. Slowed him down significantly. That size advantage, that speed that he had, the size advantage was gone by the end of the first round. So when we move on into the second round, now I'm going to put my cardio on you and make your body work even harder. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So now his body's working even harder. Now Mirab starts bouncing, throwing his hands, throwing his feet. Now all of a sudden, Cody Stamen is making Mirab look like a striker, and he's not a striker. I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not. He made him look like striking was his primary tool, and it's not. It's wrestling. You know what I mean? American wrestling versus Georgian wrestling met, and unfortunately, the American his physical prowess wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. The fact that he lost that extra 10 pounds showed in this particular match, and this was what we anticipated, and it was quite clear. It was quite clear. Mirab just kept going up and up like a plane taking off, man. His cardio just kept getting better and better and better. His striking, he was stringing together 3 and 4 hit combos while Cody was just throwing one. Especially in that third round, man, he had nothing left. Nothing. Nothing. He threw one flying knee, but ultimately he had nothing, man. He was the wrestler in him kept him in the match. You know, wrestlers are tough. Wrestlers are the toughest group of human beings on the planet, right? Well, fighters. Let me say fighters. You know, I don't want to disrespect some Navy SEALs fella. You know what I mean? That's listening right now. Like, share, and subscribe. By the way, no disrespect. I'm talking about among fighters. You know what I mean? So, Mirab, he went out there and he did what he had to do. You know, Stamen, he must have forgot that Mirab also is one of them wrestlers. And on top of that, he's in the weight class that he's supposed to be in. You came down to face him. You should have been more prepared. And it is what it is. Mirab dusted him unanimously.
Yep, 100%. Now, another unanimous decision because a night full of them. Either people got
Mm-hmm,
finished, illegal, draw, decision, but more
mm-hmm,
decision than anything else, right?
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
we had
Yes.
Tarzan, Strange Strickland,
Mm-hmm,
beating Christoph Jotko. And my
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
God,
mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yes.
I feel like, you know, Sean Strickland, not to say that he wasn't a great fighter before his accident, right? That left him like damn near dead and, 2 years away from the octagon. But I feel like this is like Robert Johnson going down to the crossroads. Like he made a pact with the devil for fucking success because he's so
Mm-hmm,
good. He is so good, right? Like I
mm-hmm,
think he went down to the crossroads and like sold his soul for a fucking UFC title run, which I'm not sure if you would have said even before he got into the accident that Sean Strickland would be a title contender or whatever. I'm definitely
mm-hmm,
saying that now. He is a title contender for the 185-pound championship. Um, he just decimated Christoph Jotko. Obviously, Jotko had moments of flashes of success, but it was Tarzan that was just obliterated him in the end.
Hey, let me tell you something, man. Sean Strickland, he is formidable. I will give you that. He is formidable. Christoph Jocko, he went the distance with him on his heels. Jocko deserves a little love here too, because fighting off of your heels is not an easy thing to do, and he did that for 15 minutes. That is a testament to his ability to move in the ring. He's light on his feet. He's able to fight moving backwards because Strickland did not stop moving forward at all. He brought that pressure. See, Strickland, he's the kind of dude that likes to stand and bang. That's where he is at his best, standing and banging. That's where he's at his best. So now he's in there against a fella that is not interested in standing and banging. He's not interested at all. You know what I mean? One thing that I would say that Jocko needs to do more of is to hit the angle. He's too reliant on moving straight back. Even though he knows how to do it, I think he would have been better served if he moved back just a little bit and then hit the angle and threw a kick. That 90-degree angle. You know what I mean? It's like Top Gun. Remember when Tom Cruise will fly, hit the brakes, right? And then the other plane will fly right by, and then he'll start chasing them from behind. Remember that movie, Top Gun? Well, anyways, this is what I'm trying to
I
describe,
remember
right? So when you
like, yeah, beautiful on Oprah's couch. That's all I remember. And Jerry
when
Maguire,
when
bring the
when there's a lot of pressure like that, you let that pressure come, right? Let them feel comfortable coming. Then you hit the angle on them. Now they're flying by, and then you throw your kick. You know what I mean? Kick to hands or whatever you want to do. The counter is there, because now they have to turn to face you to readjust. In that moment, you have an opportunity to attack. And it seemed that he was overwhelmed the entire match. Strickland was the superior striker, especially the boxing part. Um, Christoph, he didn't have I couldn't even, he didn't have a chance to throw kicks because he was moving straight back. You know what I mean? Too much pressure. So I'm sure he's going to look at this match and learn from it. There's a lot to be learned from in this particular match. All fighters can watch this match and learn a whole lot just by dissecting it. You can learn a lot. Strickland brought a lot of wisdom into this match. Utilizing that pressure the way he did put him in a situation where he had an opportunity to win the match, and he did win the match, all by intelligence. You know what I mean? So shout out to Strickland. Both individuals were phenomenal, but it was Strickland's night. Jocko will be back, and he will remain there. But right now, I see Sean Strickland as a gatekeeper in this division. Any under top 15 in the UFC, they're gonna have a hard time going through this guy, man. Most definitely. I don't see some youngster, unless they're special, like them youngsters coming up. It's gonna be a hard passing him to get to contention. It's gonna be tough. He himself, I don't know how he's going to do against the top five because I've yet to see his wrestling and his wrestling defense. Yes, I've seen it before, but what is it looking like now? Because the game evolves so quickly, which we will talk about when we get into the main event. The game evolves so quickly, so quickly. Every aspect of the game evolves so quickly. So, what is Strickland's wrestling like right now? We don't know. Someone in the top five will most definitely push him and force him to show us what that wrestling is like if he is put in that situation.
Yep, we will see. We will see. And Don McGuire chiming in saying, "Sup, my brother? Sup, Don
What's
McGuire?
up, John?
Enjoying my anniversary and my wife's birthday in a condo in Branson.
Okay,
Happy birthday to Mrs. McGuire. Happy anniversary to the McGuires. And
sure.
it's crazy because, like, I hope it's Branson, Colorado. I mean, Missouri, Branson, Missouri. That is the scene place for my favorite horror movie of all time. It's a documentary about Branson, Missouri, and it's Branson, Missouri. From what this documentary depicted, was like the Las Vegas for people who don't curse, right? Almost like the Osmonds and like the what is the people with the 80 kids or the Duggars growing up Duggar
Yeah.
or whatever. Like this is their spot, man. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
scary, and it was done by it was like to the subject was a waitress who wanted to be an actress and a gay like well he couldn't say that he was gay because that would cost him work, but you can read between the lines, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that was my Branson experience. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you guys had a better time than me watching that documentary because it scared the shit
All
out of me.
right. All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Congratulations to you, Mr. McGuire, and your wife. Anniversaries are a special thing. So, and it's her birthday too. So,
Yes.
happy
That's a
birthday to Mr.
keeper.
McGuire. You know what I mean? Show
Hey,
me the money.
yeah, absolutely. And the strip has all entertainers. Now, the strip in Branson is completely different. Couldn't be more lopsided than the Vegas strip. You
But
know, there's that. But
yeah,
no, happy anniversary, you two. You love her. Thank you both from the heart. Mario
most definitely.
Yamasaki,
So,
100%. Now,
sure,
uh,
sure.
absolutely. So this one was probably the most disappointing fucking fight of the night. We in Kutsalaba and Dustin Jacoby go to their draw.
Mhm,
Remember,
mhm,
during the week of the fight at the weigh-ins, Kutsalaba
mhm,
fucking that was a collar and elbow tie-up. That's what the fuck that
mhm,
was, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
obviously, White freaked out because he had one of his fucking main events, the week prior, get pulled out because what's his face? The fucking guy from San Diego. God, I forgot his name. But he pushed the shit out of the dude, and then
Uh, Little Heathen,
yeah,
Jeremy Stevens.
Stevens, yeah. So yeah. So, but this one fucking ended in a draw.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey,
They're
look,
gonna see
man.
ever.
Just just like we broke it down on Friday or Thursday or whatever it was, we knew Kutelaba was not coming in here to slug it out with this guy. This guy we knew was a better striker. Kutelaba himself knew was a better striker, so he tried to get in his head at the weigh-ins, like you said. And for the most part, it worked a little bit, especially in that first round, because his opponent, Dustin Jacoby, was expecting a slugfest. Whenever Kutelaba does the kind of thing that he does, he comes out swinging. Not this time. He was shooting for his life, and it was working because he had Jacoby down. He had him trapped in the corner by the fence at the bottom, and he was striking away, smashing. That whole first round, man, he had him down. But one thing that we understand is with wrestling, you have to pay the cost. Wrestling is like a high performance vehicle, like a V12 type vehicle, a Bugatti, a Lamborghini, a Ferrari. You got to put the best gas in it, man. If you don't have the best gas, you're not going to get the best performance out of it. So, Ayan Kutelaba, when you initiate wrestling so early in the game like that, you're going to get taxed. You're going to get taxed. He invested a significant amount of wrestling in that first round, such that it became tired, I would like to say. You know what I mean? He didn't have that spunk he had in that first round to end the second and the third. And he slowed down a bit. Then his opponent started coming through, letting those hands go. He was letting those hands go. And as he was letting those hands, Kutelaba would snatch him up again here and there, but he wasn't the Kutelaba that could get the knockout anymore. He was tired. He was tired and he was weaker. And majority decision split, whatever. it wasn't what I expected. Actually, it was what I expected, but I didn't like that what I expected happened. I was expecting a a formidable fight, and I didn't get that really.
Yeah, no, it's listen. I actually don't want to see either gentleman ever after this. That was such a letdown. I'm good. I'm totally good. Um, now speaking of good, we have the co-main event of the evening. We had Giga Daisy
Mhm,
against Cub
mhm,
Swanson, and I couldn't have been more thrilled because Cub Swanson gets KO'd in the very first round. Um, again, I'm just hot, just fucking hot about the comments that Cub Swanson made about every journalist has to fucking take one fight. Okay, again, your wife, Kendra Perez, now Kendra Swanson, literally makes
mhm,
50% of your household income, right? Household income by not being a fighter and hosting UFC fucking shows. Just saying.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
I couldn't have been thrilled. The thing that would make me, I'm a big advocate in fighters becoming commentators or finding themselves podcasters and what have you outside of the cage to open up another revenue stream. I would
Mhm,
love
mhm.
for Cub Swanson to never get a crack at the fucking commentator's desk at all. Interview, not at all, for the dumb shit you said.
Yeah, he's got
Thank
to
you.
have the skill anyway to rock the mic. You know what I'm saying? To sit at that desk, you gotta have the skills, man. Not everyone has that skill. A lot of people can fight. A lot of people can fight. They can go out there and fight, but then not a lot of them are recognized for their talents because they lack the ability to speak. And Cub Swanson seems to be one of those guys. He's a great fighter. Hey, I even got my amateur when I was an amateur. My walkout song I got from Cub Swanson. I saw this short video of him. Beautiful Destruction, I believe, was the name of the video, and Aim for the Kill was the song that was playing. I love that video so much. I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna use this song as my walkout music, and Cub Swanson was a huge part of that. You know what I mean? But fact still remains that he lacks mic skills, which is why what he said came out the way it came out. He's not witty enough to bring it out in a way, get his point across, but yet avoid uh, uh, um, what do you call that? That blowback. You know what I mean? He wasn't able to make his point in a way he will be in a way that will be blowback free. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. One thing that I know is we won't be seeing him at a commentator desk. I can almost bet on that. But in regards to this fight, man, the fight. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. You were gonna say something.
No, I was gonna say, High Desert was over 2 on
Yeah.
Saturday night. Over 2. And again, I think it'd be absolutely fun, right? Since Cub Swanson, you don't really like the MMA media or podcasters or whatever. I challenge all podcasters, all interviewers, all reporters of the MMA media to not ever, ever interview Cub Swanson again. Like you're in first row and you go, that's what
Oh.
I say. Now, prior to this, Cub Swanson, the couple times that we were whatever, couldn't have been nicer. But I I feel personally attacked. So,
Yeah.
boo, bye. Kendra is, Kendra is a talented, non-fighter MMA personality. You, bye-bye. When you get your release, I ain't mad at that. Mm-mm.
Hey, hey, Cub went out there, man. He went out there. I believe he was in the blue corner, man. Yeah, Cub was in the blue corner yesterday. Time's almost up, man. That's what that means. When you've been there, what, some 15 years, and you're in the blue corner, clock's ticking. You can see the light at the end of the rainbow or at the tunnel, as they say. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. You want to say something?
Do you know what I did after this happened?
Right,
Like in the
right,
commercial break,
uh-huh,
right? I where I was watching the fight, rewinded it, played that shit back, and then on my
uh-huh,
phone, I had fucking Ortega snatching his silly ass up with the fucking standing guillotine, and I just
uh-huh,
ran it up until we got to the main event. This, I was, it was great. It was fucking great.
uh-huh. Yeah, man. Hey, they went in there, man, and immediately the young man Chikadze established his range immediately. He started throwing long range strikes, front kick snaps, and then from the front kick he was able to determine his kicking distance, and then started throwing the roundhouse kick. And luckily for him, from the southpaw position, he threw a liver kick that landed. I believe when the way
Yeah,
he might have landed with the ball of his foot, which is a
yeah,
much harder kick. Yeah, he
yeah,
landed with the ball of his foot, which is actually a kick that I learned in Shotokan Karate. Shotokan Karate taught me how to do that. I practiced this on the bag also, man. It is devastating. It's like getting hit by a hammer. You know what I mean? It's like putting a hammer at the end of a bat and then swinging it. That's what it's like. Um, when you kick with the entire instep, it disperses the kick. Yeah, your liver will get compressed, right? But what hit Cub Swanson yesterday was a lot harder because the point of impact was a lot smaller, right? Because it's smaller, with all that energy, it's gonna drive right through his body, man. It's like a bullet. It's like a bullet. It drove right through his body and compromised his liver. Immediately he went straight down. I've been there. Getting kicked in the liver is nothing fun at all. As soon as he got hit, he went straight down. Chikadze was like, "Oh, I got this dude." There is no hiding a liver injury. Once you get hit in the liver like that, there's no hiding it. You can't keep a straight face. You will go down, and if you don't go down, there will be a change in your posture. There'll be like when Pettis hit a Cowboy Cerrone, he just you know what I mean. It's hard to hide that. You can't poker face this one. The liver is devastating. The liver is devastating. So once he got hit, man, he went straight down to all fours, man, and he covered up. He knew it was over because to recover from a liver strike,
you gotta fucking get that takedown. That
huh?
everything fucking shut down. I loved it.
Yeah, everything shuts down, man. Everything shuts. Hey, to recover from a liver strike, it takes approximately 50 seconds, 50 to a minute, 50 to 60 seconds to be able to stand back up and I mean the pain is still there, but you can control it now, right? About 50 seconds, man. That's a long time in mixed martial arts, man. Chikaze went in there and just threw a bunch of punches until the referee came and saved him. And it was a well placed kick and performance of the night bonus right there.
Heck yeah. Again, that 50,000 didn't go to the Cub. I went to Giga. So
Mm-hmm,
shout out to Giga.
mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Most definitely.
Now with the second for the high desert community, we've got the main events of the evening. We had Yuri Prochazka, that's what I'm going with, against the Devastator Dominic Reyes.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, this was a dogfight. I'm sorry. This right here was UFC Vegas 25. Like, nothing against everybody else on the card. This was the fight. And this fight, I wasn't, when you looked at it on paper, I was like, one of like, maybe I'll miss it, whatever. Nope. Glad I tuned in. They beat the fuck out of each other. Good God.
Mm-hmm. Um, there was a fight indeed. There was a fight. Um, but it was more like a 80-20 split in regards to beating the F out of each other that you mentioned. Um, this one was tough for me to watch, man, because Dom, he's got a special place. I don't know, man. All the people that I fought in the amateurs with, even the ones that I fought with against, there's something, there's something there, man. There's union. I can't explain it. I don't know why I feel this way about these people. I don't even hang out with them. You know what I mean? But even when I fought AJ Bryan and what's that kid's name, Perez, I didn't feel comfortable fighting him. I
Sergio
understand
Perez.
that it was business and yeah, Sergio Perez. I understand that it was business and we had to fight, but it didn't feel right. I don't know why that was the case, but I didn't feel 100% comfortable fighting these people. It really messed me up. You know what I mean? So that I don't understand why that is the case. It is what it is. We were in the amateurs together, but things change as a. I wasn't able to make that switch mentally. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So this is what we still have here with Dom. When Dom was fighting out, I was cheering for him, man. I was cheering for him. But one thing was clear to me. One thing was clear to me. Dom went out there and he showed his heart. He showed his heart. But the mistake here is his heart wasn't the problem. His heart never been the problem. You know what I mean? When he lost to Blockowitz, his heart wasn't the problem. When he lost last night, his heart is still not the problem. He's got heart. The man's a warrior. He's a warrior. The problem is he has yet to evolve. This is the problem. His opponent, Prochaska, we knew coming in there, man. He is uh, he. I talk about free flow all the time. Jiri Prochaska is the embodiment at 185 pounds. I mean, at 205 pounds. He is the embodiment of free flow. When you watch his post fight interview, you hear him say it too. He was in there flowing, man. He was flowing. Not only was he flowing, he was free flowing. I mean, he had his hand. He was so comfortable in there, man. His hands were down. His feet never stopped moving. He threw every single thing that he could throw, every single thing. And then they asked him about that elbow. That elbow. Like, he said, "Hey, man, it just happened." You know, if you ever seen the movie Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee was out there and he was talking to his master. They were walking, and he made this comment. He said, when the opponent contract, I expand. When he expand, I contract. And when there's an opportunity, I do not hit. It hits all by itself. I heard this as a little kid, but now that I'm a man, I'm seeing real life evidence of that line. Man, this guy, man, he was way ahead of his time, Bruce Lee. Way ahead of his time, man. He was laying down philosophy that was to come to fruition some 60 years later. You know what I'm saying? Jiri, man, he went in there, man. He did what he had to do. And I swear to you, man, I swear to you, 5 to 6 seconds prior to that elbow being thrown, I was yelling at the TV, man. I was telling Dominic, spinning elbow, spinning elbow. I swear to you, bro. My kids were watching me like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? I was spinning elbow, spinning elbow, spinning elbow. But for some reason, I think Jiri heard me because he's the one that initiated the spinning elbow.
Yeah.
He stepped across. He threw a looping punch. He overthrew it, right? And then instead of stopping and then coming back, he just kept the momentum going, and he added the elbow to it. You know what I mean? There's something about the flow, man. Not everyone can flow. Not everyone. There was a stiffness. There was a stiffness to Dominic. When you look at the two individuals, there was a stiffness to Dominic. When he threw his kick. First of all, we knew that kick was coming. We knew that punch was coming, right? There was nothing new. When he went in there against Blachowicz, he went in there with what he does best, which is that left hand and that left high kick. Right? Okay, after that match, from that time to now, there should have been a difference. And we saw the exact same thing, which is why Prochaska was able to pick him apart so easily. From the very first round he went after him, he was able to compromise his nostril. He had him bleeding from both nostrils. You know what I mean? By the end of the first round, and then in the second round, it was simple. It was simple. His breathing was compromised. You know what I mean? You were starting to see that he didn't have the same energy, right? But one thing about Dominic Reyes, man, he's ready to go out on the shield, man. He's gonna fight to the very end. You are going to have to kill this young man. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to kill him to get him out of there. And kill he was. Killed he got. You know what I mean? That spinning elbow, man, was perfect. Perfect. I just hate that, my guy, man, got how do you say the basketball players when they dunk on you? Posterized or posterized?
The face?
Yeah, that elbow. I mean, he's gonna be on all sorts of photographs now, man. Like when you'll be able to buy posters of Jiri throwing that spinning elbow, landing it on Dominic Reyes. He got posterized. I guess that's the word that the basketball play. You know what I mean? He'll forever be immortalized as that. It sucked to see that. But the young man deserves his props. Prochaska went out there. He brought Muay Thai with him. He brought wrestling with him. He brought boxing with him. He brought karate with him. Those front kicks that he was throwing to the body, man. Oh. Crucial. You want to disrupt a man's breathing? Kick him in the stomach a few times. And he did that a lot. It's not that kick that pushes someone back. He wasn't trying to push him back. He was trying to disrupt his flow, and that he did. Why? I mean, did Dominic come in there? Dominic Reyes, did he come into that matchup prepared to fight 25 minutes? Yeah, he did. But those front kicks to the belly, man, compromised him. The breaking of his nose compromised him. It was just a complete game plan. Was it even a game plan? Or did the guy, based on his movement and his strikeability, did he just fall into a free flow such that, he didn't even know what he was doing? He just reacting to what he was being given. You know what I mean? He looked really, really good, man. He looked so good against Dominic, man. I mean, I can't even hate on the dude, man. Even though Dominic is my guy, I gotta give this dude his props, man. I gotta give him his props. He was flawless. He got hit a few times. Dominic hit him a few times, you know what I mean? But he was flawless, man, in his movement.
Dominic
he rocked him. Yeah, Dominic rocked him. He did rock him. But it was almost like his recovery after being rocked was immediate. It was almost like he didn't get rocked. It was so quick, the recovery, man. Like, the future is bright for this kid. Now, what do I see next? What do I see? Who are in the top 5? Do you know who's in the top 5 of this division? Who are in the top 5? Let's put the future together right now. What we can potentially see in the near future. Let's put it together right now. Rock Kick? You see Rock Kick in there?
Yeah.
Rat Kick or something like that?
Yeah.
Rat Kick versus Jiri is the next match to make.
That's it.
For the number 1 contendership.
100%.
And I will put that match on the pay-per-view that has Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira. I will make those two guys, I will make them the co-main event of the evening, like you would say. I will make, in case one of them can't make it, slide one of these guys in there and you know what I'm saying? Flip a coin. Doesn't matter. Flip a coin. I would rather no one fall out because I want to see that match between Rakic and Prochaska. That is the number one contender matchup right there. And why not settle it on the same night? We're either gonna find a new champion or the champion continues as the reigning defending champion. After that, put the two of them in the ring, the two winners, put them in a ring and have them crown that. Pick a date, you know what I mean? Make that match immediately in that ring and entertain the fans, man. Give the fans something to remember, something to look up to. This is what's best for business. This is what I would do, and let's see what the UFC does.
Yeah, and you know what's weird? If you notice, right? UFC had a lot of stock in Dominic Reyes being the heir apparent to John Jones, right? And unfortunately, that decision it should have went his way, right? But then he gets obliterated by Jan Blachowicz, the current light heavyweight champion, and I don't think there's a more kind of talk about free flow, like a fall from grace, this kind of rapid. And I don't know what's going on, right? We spoke about like the high desert valley of California, right? And both Cub Swanson and Dominic Reyes call that home. That being said, I don't know how true it is, but I have heard through the tea leaves that essentially Dominic Reyes left his coaching, right? Left Cobra Kai MMA to do his own thing and had his brothers, nothing against his brothers, stud athletes. All of the Reyes brothers are stud athletes in that Victorville, California area and what have you, right? But that's almost like saying John Jones, because his brothers are stud athletes, literally each of them Super Bowl champions, right? And can beat the shit out of John enlisting them rather than Jackson Wink as his coaches.
Are you telling me? Are you telling me that Dominic Reyes left Cobra Kai and to train with his brothers?
If you notice, Fight Island, there was no Joe Daddy Stevenson.
Right.
Joe Daddy Stevenson got Dominic Reyes to the dance. Don't care what anyone says, right? So I don't know exactly the situation, or if there's a situation, maybe it's hyperbole, whatever, right? But I know that also in this fight, Joe Daddy wasn't in his corner at all. So
I thought he was training out of Colorado as well.
Is he?
Yeah. I thought he was out there with Curtis Blades in him.
Okay.
I've seen him. I follow him on Instagram, and I've seen him. I don't know if he trained there this particular fight camp, but in the past I've seen him in training out of Colorado, with the Curtis Blades and people of that nature. For him to, yeah, go ahead.
Even still, whatever is going, and again, 12-3, right? I mean, this is basically 3 fight skid for Reyes, right? Now, we're not signaling the end of his career, not by a long shot, but something has to change. And again, the confidence level in Reyes is gone for whatever reason. Whatever reason it is, that was the point. His confidence is gone. He doesn't look like the same fighter, that he did when he fought John Jones, right? And by all accounts, beat John Jones, right? So there's that.
Yeah.
If you notice that, like the Toyo tires with the commercial with him and Forrest Griffin, as well as Francis Ngannou, they don't play that anymore. But Forrest Griffin's a Hall of Famer. Francis Ngannou is the current heavyweight champion. So the only one that doesn't kind of fill that bill is Dominic Reyes, right? So if you've noticed, you haven't seen that damn Toyo tires commercial, even though there's still a longtime sponsor of the UFC. You don't see that commercial anymore. I just think it's weird right? So but
mm,
here's what I'm going to say about Jiri, right? Jiri, you look, his English may not be the best, right? But neither was Amanda Nunes when she started her sector, or
mm,
Joanna Jędrzejczyk or Zhang Weili, right? Like Jiri basically encompasses for me all of those, right? Because they define language, they define everything, right?
mm,
You love
mm.
these fighters, right? You
Yes,
love your
yes.
you love Zhang Weili, you love
Mm,
Amanda Nunes, even though their
mm,
English might not be the greatest or whatever.
mm,
It
mm, mm,
fucking doesn't matter, right? And
mm,
Yuri is that, and the what English that he speaks, he's talking about like, hey, maybe because he is a dual recipient of both the performance of the night as well as the fight of the night. So that's 100K.
mm,
And on the show, they were
mm,
asking him, what is he gonna do? And he was just like, hey, maybe I'm going to go and get a fancy cars and whatever,
mm,
kind of like, kind of a wink and a nod to maybe the former UFC light heavyweight champion John Jones. I don't know, or that he was just
mm,
speaking from. But I just love it, and even like the post fight interview, he's like, all I want to do is practice my martial art for you. He
mm,
is a fucking star. The
mm,
antenna
mm.
he made out of it. He's
He
just like,
gets it.
I can fucking tap into whatever wavelength to make me
He
perform.
gets it.
And that he did. Because
Mm,
again, Ray is not like this was a slobber knocker, a la Jim
mm,
Ross, right? This was a
mm,
slobber
mm,
knocker. Good old
mm,
fashioned slobber knocker. And Yuri didn't look phased one iota.
mm,
I'm
mm,
predicting it now. Future champ. Future champ.
mm,
I hope Glover gets
mm,
his, right? Nothing
mm.
against young Blockowitz, but I just think that Glover, God, like
Outboxes him.
it hits me in the feels much like uh, Joe Benavidez, right? Facing
Mm, mm,
Federato, right? I just want him to win, and then whatever. And I want
mm,
Glover, if you're listening, after you beat Jan Blachowicz, don't tempt fate. Retire, retire,
mm,
retire, and let Jan and Yuri fucking beat the shit out of each other, like the
mm,
two European fucking badasses that they are. That
mm.
somebody's gonna fall. Somebody's gonna
Yeah.
fall. That's what I say.
Someone always falls.
Your shit, vacate the fucking title. Hand it, like literally take that shit, whatever, hand it to Dana White. I'll help
Mm-hmm.
and right off into the sunset because you don't
That's
want
right.
Yuri and you don't want a second one with Jan. So let those two
Mm-hmm.
big fuckers fight each other.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Yuri, he's got this thing, man. He's exotic. He's exotic. He's got a love affair with the Eastern culture, the samurai way. You can see it in his haircut, of course. Um, uh, his approach to martial arts. He's got a deep love for martial arts. I wouldn't be surprised if Bruce Lee is a huge influence in his life. Um, um, his choices, his choices of weapons. I love it. I love it. I love his approach. The way he does everything in there, man. If it wasn't for Dominic Reyes, if it was someone else, I would have picked Yuri to win. But I can never pick against Dominic. I would never pick against Dominic ever, 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 ever. But going back to Yuri, kid is special, man. He's got it. He's got it. He doesn't have the best command of the microphone, but the fact that he makes a huge effort, Americans will listen. See,
Yep.
Americans only care about being entertained, right? And what I mean by that is when you as an entertainer take the time to recognize the American fan, they will give you everything. They will give you themselves. They will buy your things. They will pay for your pay-per-view. They will go the extra mile because you are going the extra mile. This is why I can't understand some of these people, man, that want to continue to use interpreter like Zhang Weili. Look at the reception she got. Look at the reception she got. You know what I mean? When she walked out, people cheered, man. You know why? My name is Zhang Wei Li. Remember me. One line, man. One line. One line. Of course she knows how to fight. A lot of people know how to fight. But when you make that extra effort, man, to communicate with your audience, to make your audience part of the show, you know what I'm saying? That's how you build your platform. You gotta bounce. Like when you look at WWE, man, like those guys are masters of it. Like WWE, yeah, those guys get hurt and all that, but it's scripted. It's scripted. And still they're able to bring the fans into the script. You understand? They get feedback from the fans as to how they make their next move or what to say next. Like for example, Stone Cold Steve Austin, something, something, something. What? The fans, what? You hear me? You got to get the fans involved in this. Got to get them involved. If they're not involved, they're not going to care about you. They're not going to care. And Yuri is doing that. He's getting them involved. You know what I mean? He's getting them involved. Like it's that simple, man. You want to be a superstar? Of course you got to win. Of course you got to win, right? Of course you need the mic skill, and of course you got to build your platform. And guess what he's building right now, right? He's building his platform, right? So
Yep.
so with the mic skill, he's going to get more opportunities, and these opportunities are going to lead to him building this platform, and funds are going to come in. Like he said, all he has to do is keep winning, man. The funds are going to come, and it's going to be up to him to buy that fancy car and have those fancy parties and wear those fancy clothes. It's going to be up to him. Or he can choose to live in the mountains, like he said, in a small house in the mountains or in the forest or whatever, and continue his training, like Miyamoto Musashi, if that's his choice. You know what I mean? The sky's the limit for the kid. He's young, he's full of energy, and he's full of skill.
Yep.
He's full of evolved skill. Evolved skill. So, sky's the limit. Shout out to the kids.
Damn right. Shit, yeah. So that was UFC Vegas 25. Thank you for watching us here out in Voodoo in the Woods. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the Voodoo in the Woods podcast on Facebook and YouTube. And if you're in that kind of following and subscribing shit and whatever, right? Voodoo, where can they find you?
Oh man, YouTube, Instagram page, Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter. Those are my four main platforms, and Periscope is now a part of Twitter. So there you go.
Yes. And I'm According to Woods, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and something else. It's probably something else. But According to Woods, put it in the Google machine. You'll find me with my face for
That's
radio.
right.
But we will be back because UFC Vegas 26. Yeah, 26. When that shit happens, I'm going to be another year older. So just saying. So we'll see you sometime this week to talk about the UFC Vegas card. And we are out.